people can look around the room, look around your life, look around any part of your life and go, there are those people. I am convinced that the cause of all suffering on the human plane of existence, on this earthly plane of existence, is the idea of other. That we have so enveloped and embraced and taken on as our own the idea of those people, those others, and those others, that we have forgotten that we belong to each other. We have forgotten the Garden of Eden, which is the place of oneness that we're all trying to get back to. Yet look around the room today and answer honestly. Are there those people in this room today? Are there others in this room today? How can that be? We're a unity church. We come together to celebrate our oneness and the connection of all life. But I have to tell you, if it's up in the field, we're going to talk about it. And there are those people in this room. And if we cannot prove what we teach about oneness in this small little microcosm of existence, how in the world are we going to prove it at the great cosmic level of our entire humanity? I find myself praying a great deal these days, and this is not going to sound like a unity minister, for crisis. Dear God, please provide us a crisis. Because somehow in crisis, we return to the place that we're all seeking. Somehow when there's a crisis, things disappear. Rachel Remen has a quote that I want to use as a foundation for the talk today. Please read this with me. The sacred lives beyond labels and judgment in the wood of no names. Michael asked us to not only live outside the box, but to get rid of the box. Rachel Remen is asking us to do exactly the same thing, and she's referring to the story of Alice in Wonderland. How many remember that story by Lewis Carroll? Beautiful story, all kinds of great things in it. And there's a part I'd totally forgotten about, and it was the wood of no names. A place where there were no labels, where there were no distinctions of other, those people that did not exist. Alice makes her journey into the wood of no names, and she encounters a beautiful young fawn. And the fawn has absolutely no recollection of danger. No need to be in a place of fear. And Alice wraps her arm around the fawn, and they walk together. And they talk together. And they share the experience of life together. It's a beautiful place. Nothing to fear, nothing to resist, nothing to push against, just oneness. I liken the wood of no names to the Garden of Eden. And somewhere along the human path, there's been a fall from grace. Where we left the Garden of Eden, there was a knowledge of good and evil, of us and them, of me and you, of me and the other people. Other, the cause of all suffering, the cause of the fall of grace that we are experiencing at a great degree in the human world right now. You see, Alice and the fawn left the wood of no names, and all of a sudden there was an awareness of other, and the fawn went running for its life, so incredibly afraid. I submit to you today that the human race is running away from each other afraid. That there's something organic and natural about who we are that we have forgotten, and that our journey as spiritual seekers, as unity students, is to go back to the wood of no names. What are the labels that you have? Call them out. Let me hear what are the labels that you hear rampant in our human condition today? Racist. Anybody here? And I know that people are going to be real uncomfortable because, oh my God, he's going to get political again. Liberal. Socialist. Whacked out conservative. Christian. Buddhist. White. Black, man, woman. The world is rampant with that which is dividing us and separating us, and we're not looking beneath the surface. The time has come to return to the Garden of Eden, to return to the wood of no names, and get rid of all the labels. Is that an easy journey? There's nothing easy about it. You know what? We used to be foster parents. My wife and I, Susie, were foster parents. And I saw the greatest amount of healing when a foster child would come, and my wife is the one who did this, not me. She taught me how to do it. And a child would come into our home, and there would be countless papers about what they were, who they were, what they had done, what had happened to them. And the first dialogue that my wife, as a foster mother, had with that child was to say, we've read a lot of papers about you. We've heard a lot of opinions about who you are. You've had a lot of experiences. And in this home, we're putting those aside because you have a blank slate in this home. We behold you as something deeper than what's on a piece of paper. We behold you as something greater and more tremendous than what somebody has said you are, or what maybe we've heard that you are. And we saw healing begin in that moment that they did not get in any other home up to that moment. There might be something to that. We invited them into the energy of the woods of no names. No labels, no history, no judgment, but simply Christ meeting Christ, Buddha meeting Buddha. You see, Jesus lived in this place. Jesus lived in the woods of no name. What did he do? He didn't have any boxes. He crossed line after line after line. My God, he was hanging around with the Gentiles. The Jews, the Gentiles, the Samaritans, the Canaanites, but he didn't stop there. He was hanging around with prostitutes. He was hanging around with tax collectors, the dregs of society, the fishermen, the outcasts, the throwaway people, the people that everybody else had judged as unworthy and not good enough, the other. Those people. And he said, there are no those people. He taught oneness. He lived oneness. And he made no exception to where he found the face of God. Could it be that we follow that great example? And all the labels that have been mentioned here and the ones that have not been mentioned here but are being carried in the heart of us here today, good, wonderful, nice people who have still some cleanup work to do, yes, it can be. But we have got to follow the example and hold ourselves accountable to where we're not following the example, to where we are still living in a box, to where we have made exceptions to where good can be found. Is it possible that we can see each other beyond the labels that we have, the stereotypes, beyond the prejudices that we have held? And if you think you're immune to it, then you're lying to yourself. Layer upon layer, we all have our stuff going on. And we just own it. We come together in community and we own our stuff and we somehow take one step after one step closer to the Garden of Eden that we have strayed from. It is beyond our prejudices. It is beyond our age. It is beyond our weight. It is beyond the body that we are carrying around. It is beyond our appearance, our economics, our class, our race, our geography, our politics, our tribes, our nations, and our religious belief systems. Is it possible to traverse this human journey, this earthly journey, and get rid of all that stuff? There are those that would say, no, it's not possible. I stand here to say, God, I hope it is possible. I'm praying for a crisis because that somehow kicks us into the place where we no longer have the labels. Now, I'm doing tongue-in-cheek. The reality is I don't need to pray for a crisis because we are in a crisis. And there are those that will say to me, why are you talking about this? This is a unity church. It should be puppy dogs and rainbows. I talk about what's up in the field. And for the last 4 or 5 weeks, there have been people asking me, why are you talking about that stuff? It gets uncomfortable. I'm not here to make you comfortable. That is not my job. I'm here to make you think. I'm here to grab your hand and you grab mine and somehow get back to the land of no names that we have forgotten. If it's up in the field, I'm going to talk about it. People say, how do you determine what you're speaking about? I take a thermometer and I put it into the field and go, yeah, it's up. Other is up in the field. Those people, that's up in the field. And so, yes, we're going to talk about it because I'm here as a healer. I'm not here to make you feel good. Although I hope you do feel good, even in your uncomfortableness. And it's okay to clap. I'm really uncomfortable with getting applause, so I'm dealing with it. Our master teacher Jesus told us that a house divided against itself is going to fall. Let me tell you, it's in the field. We have a house divided against ourselves, and it is all founded in the energy of other. It's all founded in the energy of those people. Now, is it a long journey back to the Garden of Eden? Heck, it is a long, long journey. We have strayed a long way from that place. But I believe the survivability of the human race depends on us answering the crisis that is before us right now. I believe that the human race will not survive if we cannot somehow make a U-turn and start making our steps and our journey back home. So I'm asking you to meet me beyond the labels of me. I'm a white, middle-aged, good-looking man. Some of that might be a little bit debatable. I am a minister. I am a Christian. I am also a pagan. And let me tell you, when I stand up here and I say I'm a Christian, there are people that don't like it. Oh, they've created another. The minister is an other. Those people. But you're not off the hook, because I also have a pagan heart. I am pagan, earth-based at heart, and that makes a lot of other people in this room uncomfortable, because you're judging me by the label and not by who I am. Let's follow the example of Jesus and meet me beyond the label of pagan, of Christian, of man, of white, of a minister, a parent, a grandfather, a brother, a sister. Those are all labels that are getting in the way of the journey back home. And you get to demand of me that I get to meet you at the level beyond the labels as well. Look at this beautifully diverse environment. What an amazing potpourri of God expressed. But eventually we have to get to the place where we stop looking at the external realities and we get to the internal reality, that which is underneath, that which is screaming and crying for the human race to come home. Back to the Garden of Eden. That's what unity is all about, is reunification. And make no mistake about it. Then we say we're about unity, we're about claiming oneness. We have strayed so far from oneness in every single field that no, my job is now to reunify, to remember the truth, so that maybe every step and every message and every talk and every class that we teach is putting us just a little bit closer to where we were when we started this journey and where we had forgotten. How many people remember when you were in kindergarten? They taught us at a very young age that a line of objects on the piece of paper, and they say, take your pencil and now circle the one that doesn't belong. They taught us that. Take the blocks. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. Sesame Street taught us to separate. Then we got into first grade and second grade and third grade, and simple little pencil things didn't work. Simple little blocks didn't work. We got bored with that exercise, and so we started putting your face on it. One of these things doesn't belong. We take our pencil and go, different, odd, alien, doesn't work for me. And we became adult kindergartners, looking for the thing that doesn't belong and take it out of the equation as fast as possible, because they don't think the way you think. They don't look the way you look. They don't feel the same things you feel. They don't have the same belief system as you. Off to one side. We're singing that song at a very deep place, and the crisis we're in is we're not paying attention to the crisis. It's easy when there's a tornado. There's a flood. Nobody's asking, are you a Democrat? Are you a Republican? Are you a Christian? Are you a Buddhist or a Jew? Are you an atheist? No, go ahead and drown. When there's a flood, nobody's asking the questions. We're living in the energy of no names. We're instantaneously in the Garden of Eden. And I'm saying we got to start paying attention that we are in a crisis and stop asking it. When somebody asks you about your life and you ask them about their life, suddenly there can be a meeting of the heart. That means we have to transcend a heck of a lot of a fear, don't we? I am a minister, a unity minister, and I have a certain set of values and belief systems that I espouse. And I find myself when somebody sitting somewhere says, what do you do for a living? And then the neener machine starts. Is this a safe environment to talk about my religion? Is this a safe environment to talk about who I voted for? Is it a safe environment? It's in the field, folks. It's in the field. And I'm a unity minister. There's a spectrum. Let's put the next slide up there. There's a spectrum that we're asking that question. Is the person who just asked me what I do for a living a devout, radical atheist? I temper my response based on that. Because I'm a kind person? No, because I'm afraid of the response. I don't want to get into a dialogue with somebody who's going to try and knock down every belief system I have. And then there's the person on the other side of the spectrum. The radical religious person who says, I have a corner on the religious market. And I temper and I change who I am as the light of the world because I am afraid. In essence, what I have said is fear is more important than truth. And let me tell you, it's a minority of people on either side of that equation. And I have to ask myself, how many beautiful bridge-building opportunities have I missed because I was afraid of what might be on the polar opposites. The Buddha said, follow the middle way, follow the middle path. And I had to examine this week all the people that have missed getting to know the light of the world that I am, and all the people that I didn't get to meet at a place of oneness in the land of no names, because I was more concerned about my labels, more concerned about my fear and my uncomfortableness than I was the possibility. We are living on either side of that spectrum right there. And I'm saying if we live as the temple of love, I'm asking you to get rid of the word God. Do you know God is just a label? It's just a label. But we're so afraid of that word on either side of the spectrum, but right smack dab in the middle of it. What would you use to replace the word God? Love. Let me tell you, I've never met an atheist that will not talk about the power of love. I have never met a devout Christian that will not talk about the power of love. I get to be the bridge builder. How would it be if we as Unity students, we as spiritual seekers, made it our only job as we traverse this earthly journey to see how quickly, make it a game, how quickly can I build a bridge of understanding? How quickly can I be the conduit for kindness and peace? How quickly can I be the first one to take a step back and open up my arms and say, love is here? You see, we're fighting over on either side of that spectrum or the other, and in the middle about a word named God, which is nothing more than a label. Can I meet you beyond the label, Christian? I hope so, because if I can't, then I'm a part of the problem. Can I meet you beyond the title Muslim, Jew, conservative, liberal, old, tall, short? I hope so. I believe the human race depends on that. And I want to be the one that leads the way, and I'm asking us to be the one that leads the way back to the land, the woods of no names. You know, one of the greatest aspects of the spiritual path is our ability to dialogue about spiritual ideas. How many spiritual dialogues have you missed because fear dominated, because a label dominated? I'm asking us to be the presence of love and to be the one that shares perspectives, beliefs, and experiences. Ask anybody on this planet, tell me about your experience of life with a sincere desire to understand them. Now you're a bridge builder. We are so, I started to say damn, I'm going to say it. We are so damn concerned about the car that we're taking from point A to point Z that we have forgotten where we're going. Point Z is the important thing. Oh, why'd you buy a Toyota? I grew up in a family that it was Buick. You got to buy a Buick. Buicks are the best car on the road. Don't buy anything but a Buick. And then my father would tell somebody, why did you buy a Ford? You should have bought a Buick. Oh, don't buy foreign cars. You should have bought a Buick. Now that's silly and ridiculous. My dad owns a Toyota today, by the way. But the reality is, there's a whole population of people walking this planet that are more concerned whether you're driving a Buick, a Ford, a Toyota, or a Nissan. I don't care what car you're driving. I care about we're going to point Z together. And I want you to hear that. Hey, nice ride. Tell me about your ride. You chose Christianity. Great. Let me ride in your car for a while. You chose to be an atheist. Good. How you getting to love? And then I get to be the bridge builder. And all the man-made constructs that have gotten in the way and taken us out of the Garden of Eden, the knowledge of good religion and not good religion, the religion of good politics and not good politics, however justified you may think your position is, it's getting in the way and nobody's going home. We have got to get home because we are in the midst of a crisis. And to live your life as if there was a flood and a tornado and an earthquake happening right now. Here, I'm your brother. Here, I'm your sister. We are in this together. And I don't care what car you're driving in. Let's just get in a bus and let's go together. And how does that begin? In Alice in Wonderland, the land of no names began with a look in the looking glass. What is a looking glass? A mirror. What's wrong with all you people? What's the matter? Who's the matter with me? A lot of people are asking that question. Who's the matter with me? Go to the looking glass. Oh, there I am. We have met the enemy, and they is us. through the looking glass, we will begin to clean up any energy that exists here of label, of judgment, of critique. However justified you might think your label, your judgment, and your critique might be, you are not helping the cause unless you can transcend that. The energy that's living here, it is either adding to the journey home to the Garden of Eden, the journey home to the wood of no names, or the journey away from it. What do you choose? Fear or love? What do you choose, being right or love? What do you choose, being greater than or love? Plain and simple. And there's nothing complex about that, but I'm telling you, the spiritual path needs to be simplified a little bit. How are you showing up as love? The Dalai Lama once said, my religion is simple. You know what it is. My religion is kindness. What if we made a sacred vow at this moment that our religion became kindness, our religion became compassion, our religion became understanding, our religion became building a bridge so that that oneness that we know is true at a deep place has a little bit of room to breathe and to come to the surface. Breathe for a second. Richard Rohr is doing amazing things, and Richard Rohr is a devout Christian. This is what he has to say. Let's read it together. There is nothing to prove and nothing to protect. I am who I am, and it's enough. Whether you agree with me or not, this is enough. Whether you're comfortable with my opinion or not, this is enough. Love is enough. I know who I am. Who are you? You're the presence of love. Take God out of the equation. Because God, that label, is getting in the way. You are the presence of love in action, in motion. And when we can meet people at the level of the experience of love, we have a little bit more opening. Let's go to the second quote Richard Rohr had to say. It's a little smaller, but can you read that? Go ahead. Squint your eyes a little bit. It makes it easier. Read with me together. People who've had any genuine spiritual experience always know that they don't know. They are utterly humbled before mystery. They are in awe before the abyss of it all, in wonder at eternity and depth, and a love which is incomprehensible to the mind. Tell me about the God you don't believe in, to the atheist. Tell me about the God you do believe in. That's the question love will ask. Not, why are we different? Why do you believe that? Why are you driving a Ford? Why are you driving a Toyota? Tell me more. I want to sincerely understand why you chose a Toyota. I want to sincerely understand why you have made a decision to be a Christian. That's what love would do. And let me tell you, every single time, love will have its way if we can stand in the fire as love long enough. But the problem is we're lazy. We're spiritually lazy. And the labels are the easy way out. The labels are the easy way out, and they're taking us one step farther away from the Garden of Eden. Why do we talk about it? Because it's up in the field. Plain and simple, and I will talk about it if it's in the field. Marcus Borg is also another devout Christian, although he's kind of the guy in the middle that nobody seems to like because he rewrote the Bible and took things out. This is what he had to say. Let's put Marcus's quote up there together. Tradition can be understood as a pointer to that which is beyond tradition, the sacred. And it functions not as a prison, but as a lens. Is it possible that the tradition that you have chosen to walk this earthly journey with, the idea of the infinite, is nothing more than a road sign, a road map to get you to point Z? So let's be less concerned about what car you drove and be more concerned about point Z. Is it possible? Is it possible? Consider for a minute the others in this room that have the label independent, conservative, and liberal. That we all want point Z. That we're all trying to figure out how to get to point Z. And it's easy to go back to the labels, but I'm telling you, if we don't hold on to point Z, the human race will not be here and the animals will be thrilled that we're all gone. The trees will rejoice, thank God, those who were destructive finally left the face of existence so that we can thrive. I want to cooperate with the trees. Reminds me of that song from the Broadway musical, I talk to the trees, but they don't listen to me. Don't start, Richard. The trees are listening. The earth is listening, as Michael's beautiful poem displayed. It is paying attention. And it's saying, either get your act together, human race, or I'm going to shake you off. We got to start paying attention. That's all this talk is about. Pay attention to the love that is calling for expression. So, no, I'm not praying for a crisis, because we're in the crisis. I'm praying that we stay awake. I want to be awake. And not talking about what's in the field is a way to go to sleep. And so, yes, this minister is going to talk about what's in the field no matter how damn uncomfortable it makes us all feel. And there's nothing comfortable about me standing up here saying this. Tell me about the God you believe in. Tell me the God you don't believe in. Tell me about the nation you believe in. Tell me about the nation you don't believe in. Tell me about the humanity you believe in. Tell me about the humanity you don't believe in. And somehow, holding my hand and sitting in the fire, we're going to make our way home. I want to look through the looking glass and go home today and look in the mirror. Where is the cleanup that needs to be done? And I want to meet each and every one of you in the land of no names. And like Alice and a fawn, the lion will lay down with the doe and the deer, and the leopard and the snake, and all of the lambs will lie down together. This was the message of Jesus. Stop being a house divided against itself. That's my only desire, and that's my only wish. Let's take that into a place of meditation today.